Welcome to our December angel reading. We are going to dive into December, what astrological events are coming up this month. I'm going to talk about what you can expect, the major happenings and the energy that's coming up. And I'm going to share with you some angel cards that I have drawn for the month, which will shed even more light on what to expect and how to flow through the month of December and on into 2021, because this is the culmination of a year that I think has affected all of us in so many profound ways, ways we could never have expected. And it's been just a year that we can learn from, we can grow from. We have experienced major shifts in energy that are benefiting us on so many levels. Even though we can't always see that, there is so much to bring from this year to help us to move forward into the new that's coming. And there's so much coming up, and there's just so much. I'm going to go into it because I want to get into all the details, all the juicy stuff. So the theme that is coming up for November, or for December rather, is going through the vortex. And I'll explain what that means in a minute, but let me just touch on the key dates in December that we'll be going through. So firstly, we have the 12th of December, which is the 1212 gateway. And this number is an angel number. It's all about accessing the angels, your guides, the higher realms, using this day to go within, to get, information, to talk to your angels, to communicate, to contact your angels, your soul, your higher self, and to bring that energy into your being so that you can live from that higher place. And I'll talk a bit more about this in a minute, because we're going towards not just contacting our angels and guides, but actually embodying that vibration, embodying the higher vibration of love that they hold. But we're now being called to embody that vibration. So after the 12th of December, we have the 14th of December, which is the new moon solar eclipse in Sagittarius. And this is a total new moon solar eclipse. Now, we all know new moons are all about birthing the new, about setting intentions, about looking at our goals, our desires, and where we're going. So this new moon being a total solar eclipse is going to be super powerful. Now, you know that I talk about eclipses being all about the shadow energy, the shadow side. And when we go through an eclipse portal, we are being called to look at the shadow. We are being called to acknowledge what is hidden in the depths of the shadows, the emotions that we've been ignoring, the thoughts that we've been putting to the side, the desires that have been knocking on our door, waiting for us to answer, that we keep ignoring. So we want to delve into all of that, whether we like it or not, it's going to be coming up. So acknowledging it, taking some time during the new moon to reset, to realign with your highest desires, the highest version of yourself, and then to go confidently towards that, in that direction. Then on the 21st of December, we have, of course, the solstice, but we also have the Great Conjunction, which is the Jupiter and Saturn alignment at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Now, some will say that this is the start of the age of Aquarius. Others will say it's already started. Some people will say it's not starting for years to come yet, but it certainly is a pivotal point where we have this conjunction at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And it's also when this great conjunction is when Jupiter is moving into an air sign, and that hasn't happened for the past 200 years. So it's bringing this lightness into being, and it's also at the start of Capricorn season. So 21st of December, so much going on, and I'm going to dive into all of that because there's so much to it. But I want to finish with the final date that is of significance is the 29th of December, which is the full moon in Cancer. And this full moon is the second full moon in Cancer this year. Normally there's only one. We had the first back in January at the start of the year, and this is the final one closing off this year. And of course, full moons are all about release. So for me, it's about releasing all the hurt, the pain, all the things that this year has brought, the feelings of isolation, the doubt, the fear, all the things that were brought up on us this year. It's all about releasing that and then just turning the page, starting anew. So the reason why the theme this month is going through the vortex is because of that solstice and the grand or great conjunction that is coming up on the 21st of December. I see it as if we're like the whole planet is going through this vortex. And if you can imagine the vortex, there's like this swirling vortices on either side. And in the middle, there's this tiny point where we have to travel through. And if you can imagine, we're like entering the start of the vortex as we enter the start of September or December, and we're traveling into that point, that 0 point alignment, and then we'll be coming out the other side. So this is going to be felt in the weeks, these coming weeks coming up to the 21st and the weeks after also. So it's like these tectonic shifts. It's like everything is reorganizing so it can come into place. And it's if you can imagine, the visual that I see is like a safe, a big, huge, giant safe, the type you'd see in a big bank vault. And it's like it's locked, and all these parts have to shift. They have to be turned and come into alignment at the precise location in order to unlock that door and to access the treasure within. So the treasure is this land of new that we are going towards. And the way I see it is like everything around us is going to be the same. It's going to look the same, but we're going to be different. We're going to feel different. We're going to see the world differently. And while everything will look the same, its vibration will have shifted. So that's why we are going to be different, because our vibration will have shifted. The vibration of everything will have shifted. And even though you say, well, there's my computer, or there's my phone, or there's my house, it all looks the same, but it's all different. It's all at a new level of being. It's like we've shifted up a level, and even though it is the same world we've been inhabiting, it's at this new level of vibration. Hopefully that makes sense. So when we shift up to this new vibration, we're viewing everything through the lens of our higher selves. Remember what I was saying about our higher selves, that energy, that vibration, embodying that energy. So we're getting access as we go through this vortex to embody that vibration, that energy of our higher selves. And what that means is we'll view life through that lens, and we'll also experience great peace, great inner peace, great understanding. There's going to be realizations where a lot of us are going to be in the space of thinking, oh, this is what it's all been about. This makes perfect sense. And all the things you've been through, all the frustrations, all the hurt, the pain, the anger, whatever it is you've been through, it'll suddenly make sense. You'll think, oh yeah, I realized that's what that was about. So the other thing that's coming up is that it's like the community aspect. We will be supporting each other. There will be less divide. We will be realizing that we are, in fact, all one, and that community support will really come into play. And we've seen that coming into play with the quarantines and people helping each other in the communities. But I think that's going to the focus, particularly next year, is going to be on communities coming together, supporting each other. And the role of the angels in all of this is that as we go through these tectonic shifts, the angels are holding us in place. It's like they are literally holding us, keeping us grounded as the earth moves beneath our feet. And if there is an earthquake taking place all around us, with the angels holding us, keeping us in that vibration of love, we remain steady, we remain unaffected. It's like the desert rat, go placidly amid the noise and haste. We can go placidly amid the noise and haste, amid the chaos that seems to be happening in the world around us, and we can stay in our still, quiet center. So make sure you're actively calling in the angels and working with them each day to allow them to do that for you, to hold you in place, to keep you grounded in your power, in your energy, in your state of oneness. And especially if you do feel that the earth is moving, or the ground feels a bit shaky, or your life feels a bit shaky, obviously don't wait until that happens to start working with the angels. Call on them. But if it is at that point already, be sure to start working with them, start calling on them, start incorporating them into your daily practice as you get up in the morning, doing your meditation, just calling in the angels, asking them to guide you throughout the day. So the other thing that's coming up is it's not solely up to the angels. We can't just deposit all our responsibility on them. They will support us, of course, but we must choose this also. We have to choose to be in that state of peace, to be in that state of alignment, to be grounded in peace. And that's a choice that we make by when we see ourselves or our minds getting caught up in a train of thoughts or worries, pulling ourselves back from that and getting back into a state of peace. Of course, we can ask the angels to help us to get back into that state of peace, but not letting our minds run away with ourselves. Being responsible for our thoughts, being responsible for our words, our deeds, our actions, being responsible for our behavior in this world, and acknowledging that we always have a choice. We don't have to be in fear. We don't have to be in worry, even though it can seem as if we can do nothing else but be in that state. And it's not saying that it's wrong to be in that state, but of course it's not nice. We don't feel good when we're in that state. So acknowledging fears, acknowledging worries, acknowledging thoughts as they come up, and then just shifting back into that state of peace, choosing to return and doing whatever it takes, moving your body, drinking plenty of water, getting the rest, eating good food, being in nature, grounding yourself in nature, doing all the things that you need to do in order to be in that good state. Because the more you look after yourself physically, the more you eat well, drink well, you can then have better thoughts, because you're in a state, your body is in a state of alignment, and then your thoughts will then lead to better emotions, and you will be feeling better in yourself. So it all works together. It's a holistic practice. It's not just about, guarding your thoughts. It's about being in the energy of looking after yourself, eating well, exercising. Exercise is so important. And then acknowledging if a thought comes up, is this serving me? Is this a path that I want to go down? And if it's not, then choosing something different. So when we start to take responsibility in this way, and we're getting support from the angels, then we can come to the realization that we can do this. We can be in that state of peace each day. We can own our immense power, and we can allow ourselves to be in that power because we trust ourselves. So this month, focus on letting go of the thoughts, the worries, fully letting go, not just letting go for 10 minutes or a day, just letting go as things come up, just letting go, reshifting, refocusing, allowing all that no longer serves to fall away so that we can step into our greatness, so that we can be in that higher vibration that we are transitioning through. And it's a little bit like casting a hook into the ocean. And if you are aligned, you will catch that, salmon rod or whatever it is. But you can also miss it as well if you're not in alignment. And, that's calling to us. That energy is calling to us. It's calling to us to be in our fullness, to be in that state of alignment, to draw it in more and more each day. And really, the time is now. The time is now to be in greater alignment than ever, to be supremely aligned. And of course, not judging ourselves if we fall out of alignment, just simply refocusing and coming back to center when we notice we've fallen out of alignment. So the solstice is the gateway that it'll open up this opportunity. And, when we have the solstice gateway, each year we have this opportunity to do the inner work, to realign, to shift into something new. But we often don't walk through that gateway. We stand before it, but we choose not to walk through, or sometimes it remains locked because there's something within us that we're blocking ourselves, so we can't walk through that gateway. But this time, the gate is open to all of us, for everyone who chooses to step through. So we all have that choice. And again, there's some of us may choose not to step through, and that's our choice. But it's there for all of us if we want to step through that gateway and to leave behind the heaviness, the past, the hurt, the pain, all the things that have been holding us in limitation, leaving behind all of those things. So I'm going to go through the angel cards that I have drawn. So the first card is this beautiful peacock crowned with nature's secrets. So this is the card of emerald secrets of nature and heart resonance. So if you can see here, what I love about this card is the peacock. Often we see the peacock with its tail down. It's not fanned out in all its glory. And that's a bit like us. We've had our tails down. We haven't had them fanned out in all our glory. In other words, we haven't stepped into the fullness of our power, our energy, our highest vibration of love. So you see this peacock, it has its tail out, and it represents in some ways the tree of life or the flower of life. And it's all about ascending to new heights, ascending to higher ways of being. And this is the opportunity that is before us. And this card being the card of emerald secrets of nature and heart resonance, you can see that the peacock's tail is this beautiful emerald green color. And of course, our heart chakra is this emerald green. And you can see the colors towards the top rise into these pinky and golden colors. So we can rise from the green up to the higher heart chakra of pink and gold, and we can open up that higher heart flower. So you can even ask to work with the peacock crowned with nature's secrets to help open up your own heart chakra and your higher heart chakra. So it's all about opening up. It's about opening up to that higher vibration, opening your heart, allowing more love in. And the second card that I have drawn is a beautiful card because it aligns so much with the eclipse that I was talking about. If you can see, this card is the golden shadow hound of heaven. And this is the card of faithfulness, loyalty, and self-reflection. So I love this because, as I mentioned, the eclipse is all about the shadow side and revealing that shadow so it can be released. We often think that the shadow is a bad thing, and actually there's a lot of healing that comes from it. So the golden shadow hound of heaven, the shadow hound will follow us into the shadows to help us to step back into the light. It's going to stay by our side. It's like this loyal, beautiful hound who will be there by our side no matter what. And if we choose to um, acknowledge the shadow, the hound will be there by our side with us, stepping forth with us to guide us, to be our faithful and loyal servant, and help us when we're in those times of self-reflection. We're reflecting on what needs to be lifted from our being, and it will be there in the shadow with us to help us to step back into the light. So you can work with the golden shadow hound of heaven if you are experiencing, the shadow side coming up, whatever form that may be for you. It can be through emotions coming to the surface that you thought maybe you dealt with before. It can be through fears coming up that maybe haven't come up for a while. Whatever it is, and knowing that we don't have to stay in that energy. We can acknowledge it, we can see that it's there, and we can say, oh yeah, that's something that I used to get really fearful about or really worried or anxious about. But now, because I'm in my power, I can see it for what it is, that it's illusion. Because remember, if you've ever stood in the sun and you've seen your shadow on the ground, you haven't ever for a moment been afraid of that, because you know that it's simply the shadow of the light lying before you on the ground, and you can simply turn your back to the shadow, turn towards the sun, and you no longer see the shadow. It doesn't mean that it's not there anymore. It just means that you're not facing it. You're not focusing all your attention on it. You're choosing to focus on the light. Hopefully that makes sense. So finally, our third card is the Butterfly and Dragonfly mandala. I love this card. This has come up a few times for us. And this is the card of psychic and spiritual development and transformation. So I love that this is coming up after the Golden Shadow Hound of Heaven, because when we release the shadow, when we choose to acknowledge it, and we take our power back, we're not feeding the shadow, we're not giving into the fears, then we can step up. We can step up into something new. So we have here the butterflies and dragonflies. And of course, butterflies are all about transformation, transforming from the caterpillar into that beautiful butterfly. And dragonfly is all about that energy of air, that lightness of being. So this is really a chance to transform, a chance to transcend the heaviness that we have been in, and to transform into something, or to ascend rather into something new, and to develop our psychic and spiritual gifts. And for some, their spiritual gifts, it may be really subtle in the form that it comes through. It can come through as compassion, or it can come through as self-love. For others, it's going to be something a lot more tangible. You might have a gift of healing, or a gift of insight, or something that will aid both yourself and others. But noticing those gifts, because as we go through this vortex, you're going to notice activation of some of these gifts, or even if they have been activated, maybe a new level of activation within you. So be aware of that as well. So a lot of positive coming from this month, a lot to look forward to, a lot of stuff that we are letting go of. And, for some, they might focus on that side of it, thinking, well, this is going to be a really tough month because I'm going to be going through all this stuff. But I choose to focus on the lightness of, all the good that is coming, the fact that we are transitioning through this vortex into something amazing. So focus on what's on the other side, and don't get bogged down in any of the heaviness that might be coming up for you. And I know that can be easier said than done, but again, as I said earlier, calling on your angels, working with them each day, talking with them, communicating with them, asking for guidance, and knowing that you are fully supported, knowing that you are cared for, knowing that you're taken care of in the most profound ways that you could never even imagine. So knowing that, fully recognizing that you have a team of light surrounding you, supporting you, and there for you every step of the way, and being in that lightness, being in the energy of fun, going out, enjoying the holiday season, enjoying time, hopefully with loved ones. If we can get back to being in small groups again, it would be so wonderful to spend that time with families and just being in that energy of community, as I said, and the support of that social structure that we have missed so much this year. So enjoying that as well. Thank you so much for being